Hello everybody, today I am bringing you a layout with this quote that features the word strong and a photo of me. I have the Chamel Starshine paper pad here and I'm just going through a couple of different papers to see what I like these photos against, or this quote in this photo against. And I do like this floral paper, and I go back and forth with it a couple of times about it maybe either being the background or as a photo mat. I also liked this blue paper as well, but I eventually decide that it's a little dark for what I want, and I'm thinking I really want to highlight the pink and keep this more of a monochromatic layout. It's not completely, but I'm going to use a lot of pink on it. So what I'm doing here is I just cut off that branding strip so I can get sort of an idea of how this is going to look and where I want things to go. I am wanting to map those two photos, and I looked at that piece from True Stories, but the color is a little bit too green for the blue that's in this paper. That pink paper, by the way, is called Phoenix if you're looking for it in individual sheets. So now I'm going through a bunch of other papers that are in teals and blues, and I'm checking the tealy blue in the Starshine die cuts with some of the papers that I'm looking at, and the one that I just put away is not right. I liked this paper. The color of that dark was really good, but it was too formal, and that chevron was too white. I did find this stripe paper by Me and My Big Ideas, and this is the paper that I am eventually going to settle on. But I'm going to play around a little bit with other things first before I do decide that. I like this paper quite a bit, but it was very dark against the pink, the lighter pink of that paper. So what I'm thinking about now is I'm toying with ways to soften this, and one of the ways to do that would be to use vellum. Unfortunately, though, I can't find my plain vellum right at this second, so I grabbed a piece of pattern vellum just so that I could get the effect of what that would look like softened. And even though this is a layout about strength, I also like the idea of using vellum because it does add some softness to the page. I'm a girl and I am soft even though I am strong. So I'm doing that, and now I'm looking to see if I can find my actual vellum. I know where it's supposed to be. I have the envelope with those kinds of specialty papers, and finally I find this piece of vellum, or these pieces of vellum, from the Paper Studio. It's from their open stock line. They have it in 8.5 by 11, and actually I didn't realize this until yesterday, but they do have 12 by 12 vellum. It's just in paper packs, so you have to buy the 12 by 12 in a pack, and it's a very reasonable price. So I bought some yesterday because I have a layout idea that I want to do sometime in the near future that will use vellum. I saw something about hidden journaling in plain sight, or journaling in plain sight, hidden journaling in plain sight, where you journal on the back of a page and then you hide it with vellum. So I'm getting off topic with this layout, but at least that'll give you an idea of something coming up while you watch me fiddle and try to figure out how I'm going to do this. So I'm trying to decide, do I want the vellum going over my photos there or under? The other thing I'm trying to decide is which direction that I want the stripes to be, and I've decided that I'm going to want the stripes to go vertically. I'm also doing it in the bottom corner here just because the top corner, this paper's so old, the top corner was a little mangled, so I decided to kind of get rid of that. And that's why I'm going to my paper trimmer now to trim that out. And I'm so excited. I just used a fairly old, this paper is probably at least 5 years old. And now what I'm doing, I'm taking my big roll, which is not so big anymore, of Scotch foam tape. I've used just a ton of this. The roll, when you get it, is at least as wide as that 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and probably even a little bit more. And the cool part about it is I don't have any fun foam, and although I know that would be an inexpensive way to do this, I don't pop large things up very often, but when I do, I don't feel so guilty because I have the large roll of foam tape, and it's not anywhere near as expensive as it is to buy it smaller. Now, this kind of drove me a little crazy because I used that vellum and then the sticker didn't come all the way off. But I realized, you know, I'm using such a big piece here that I can just put that, I can just put the sticker under it. And I was very daring. I didn't use my trimmer. I actually used my scissors. I tend to be more of a straight line scrapper, as you well know if you are watching my videos on a consistent basis. But sometimes I actually break out of my own self-imposed box and I use my scissors, which is so silly because really, is it that important to have lines that straight? No. But in my head, a lot of days it is. Although I'm going to correct this in just a minute. I got a really funny, crazy edge that was really angled funny compared to the rest of that piece. And so what I did there is I just straightened that out. So I'm getting rid of my pieces there. And now I am going through the Chamel's True Stories die cut pack. I'm not quite sure why, but for some reason being strong and this paper reminded me of clouds. I don't know why. So I grabbed those wood veneer clouds. I have quite a few pieces of her wood veneer left, and so I was happy to have those. And then I'm going through now the chipboard, and they call them stickers in this collection from the Chamel Starshine collection. I like that pack, the way they're kept there. And as I'm looking, I'm kind of playing around here with what I want to do, and I am spotting, I'm looking at, I was looking at using that floral here, but because I have the clouds up there, the floral just didn't seem so appropriate. So I'm now thinking I want to use that balloon that says Wonder, and I'm thinking, okay, it's kind of, I've got sort of a sky thing going there. Part of it's probably the influence of the name of the collection, which is Starshine. And when else am I going to use a hot air balloon? So I'm not a themed scrapper very often, although I do it from time to time. So I'm also looking up now, I want sort of a diagonal going from the bottom left to the, or bottom right to the top left. And I want something at the top of that card there. There's a lot of white space. And so I found those balloons, and I really kind of like how that is, again, sort of themes of sky and air and those kinds of things, since that's kind of what's going on here. That quote, but and I just pulled those die cut clouds. I found those as well too in the Chamel True Stories die cut pack. And I like the idea that I'm using these clouds because I find them hard to use. Silly, because they're really not, but they'd be a lot appropriate on a lot of things. What I had done there, by the way, to make sure that I was okay with that balloon before I stuck it down, is I put it on a piece of wax paper, because then I can move those stickers around. So I'm going to do that. I like that way, like the way that looks. And now, because the photos popped up, I need to put a little of the foam tape underneath the balloon as well. And then I just took my ATG and I ran it along in the same line that the foam tape is, and that way then I won't collapse the vellum as I'm trying to glue everything down there. So what I did there is I popped those balloons up, just the top of the balloons though, on some foam tape, just to give that some dimension running across, because everything else here is dimensional. And I'm going to leave that cloud flat for a little bit of a different dimension on the page, since so much else is popped up. And I'm really liking the way all of this is looking now. Now I'm looking for some sort of stickers or journaling ideas. I'm not quite sure what I want to do here. I saw those clouds, the sticker clouds, and thought about those, but I think I have enough there. And I found this little sort of banner sticker, and I decided, that, I kind of like the idea of how that's going to look. But it is very light and soft. I don't have a ton to say about what I want to say to go with this quote, but I do need just a couple of lines for journaling. So I'm doing this and I'm thinking, I'm going to need to journal on this, and I want to check my placement and decide where I like this sticker. So maybe I should put this on some wax paper so I don't stick it accidentally to the photo or the quote. The quote is printed on photo paper. And then from that, the sticker book, and that sticker book is true stories as well, in case I didn't mention that, where the heart and that little banner came from. I found that little heart and decided, oh, that'll take up some room and it'll be a little bit of added interest on the page there. And what I'm doing here is I have a slick writer from scrapbook.com, actually. That's a fine point that I am just going to write on this because the surface of that sticker is slick. So one more thing I want to say as I'm talking about this before I forget is I didn't tell you where that quote is from, where I found that. And I honestly don't remember. I think it's from one of two places. I think I pulled it off of Facebook from either the American Crafts page or from something from Amy Tangerine. It looks very much like the writing that she does, but I'm not positive, and I'm sorry about that. And I went back and I could not figure out where I pulled it from. Normally I'm pretty good about labeling those things so that just for my own purposes, and then so I can tell you if I happen to use it in a layout. But like I said, maybe American Crafts, I don't remember. If anybody knows, go ahead and pop that in the comments for me. It would be nice and helpful for other people as well too. I like the watercolory look, but I don't do it myself, so it's nice when I can find pre-made things like this. What I'm doing here is I just have a couple of foam circles. I'm going to pop that heart up on 2 foam circles just so that has a little bit of dimension on that heart as well too, since I have that dimension going on all over. Kind of playing around, and I like that. Now I'm looking at this and deciding I really want to ink the edge of that paper, because it's not standing out as much as it should. So I'm going to do something very dangerous. My layout is basically about done here. What I'm going to do is I am going to ink the edge of that paper using my Jelly Bean Soup fountain pen ink and my Tim Holtz applicator. I know, crazy that I'm doing this when it could be disastrous. But you know, that's okay. Sometimes you take big risks to get a reward in the end. And I did smudge just a little on the bottom there by the Wonder Balloon there. And I'm doing it, and it's a little bit on top between that cloud and the edge of the paper, but it's so faint and so light, it's fine. I don't think it's that big of a problem. And what happened is I wanted that upper edge to be, all the edges actually, not just the upper edge, to be just a little bit darker because I didn't think I got it dark enough. Like I said, I'm living very dangerously here. One of the reasons I needed to ink that, by the way, was because I inked the banner sticker there. Now, I'm feeling like those balloons need something else in that corner to be grounded. And I found this piece from the Starshine cardstock and acetate shapes, which is the ephemera. And so I cut a piece off there, and I thought, well, if I cut it off the bottom, then I can still use it if I tuck it in above something. But I'm going to change my mind about using it on something else first. And I just like that it grounds that just a little bit. I decided to ink the edge of those clouds there so they stand out a little bit, because all the other paper elements on this layout are inked. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, now I think I need something down anchoring that Wonder Balloon down there. Hey, maybe I can just use the other side of this. And I know that I, quote, wasted the saying there, but I used the piece and it's not sitting in my stash anymore. That's the thing that's important to me. So I get that down there. And I'm also thinking now I want a little something perhaps up in that balloon cluster, and I'm trying to decide what to do. And I find that cute little heart. I just ink that and add that to the layout, and I'm done. There'll be a still shot and a couple of detail shots. Hope you are all well. I'll be back soon with more videos. Bye!